Hello, my name is Shirley Self, and I'm here to talk astrology. And today I wanted to talk about moon phase 22. So moon phase 22s were Mother Teresa, Carl Jung, and here is a moon phase 22 of a whole different stripe. This is Rupert Murdock. Rupert Murdock was born, he just had a birthday, on 11 March 1931, so he's just 90 years old, at 11:59 p.m. in Melbourne, Australia. He is a newspaper magnate, a baron. He owns a lot of... He disseminates the news. Well, the news according to Rupert Murdock. Let me show you moon phase 22 on the system here. Is that? Mm-hmm. Here it is. It's up here at the top. It is the culmination of the work to create a unique intellect. And that unique intellect is muy powerful. It is a moon phase 22. It is a powerful phase, a very powerful. Moon phase 22 is a master of war. He identifies with his power, and his power is the intellect. That is the creative power of the human being. It resides in our intellect, not in our puny hands. So we have here a moon phase 22, and at the top of their game. Except that they've already gone over the top of their game and are now desperately trying not to fall off on the other side, to fall out of power. These the king of the hill here. And what the king of the hill has to do, well, virtually they tend to have a revelation. Some day they simply wake up to the truth of the human soul and realize that what they have is power. And you know, the greatest goal and the greatest joy of the sun, well, the first joy of the sun is simply for survive, but the greatest joy of the sun is to be of service and virtually to sacrifice what you have for others. So what the moon phase 22, the king of the hill, has to do is to virtually wake up someday with a revelation that this power can be put to other uses besides making the owner of that power greater and grander and more powerful, because there can be no further advances in intellect here. It's the advances in the fourth quarter are what you've done in the third quarter is you've created an intellect that is virtually a skeleton. And that's why the moon phase 21 and 7, the card for them is the death card. What it is that there is no higher authority. I am my own authority. And that skeleton is in the fourth quarter to be given spiritual muscle. So what 22 has to do is to decide to use that power virtually for the benefit of the world, other people. And this is not an easy, for some people it might be easy. It might have been easy for Mother Teresa to recognize what she had to do, even though the job she did, she said, this is not easy. It's just not easy what I'm doing here. And for Carl Jung, it wasn't particularly easy. It was hard work he did for us to virtually open up the potentials of our creative imagination, among other things. So what 22 has to do is to realize that his power can be put to better use. And until he has this realization, he will be at war. He is called the master of war. He will be at war on an internal war. An internal war that is fought out in the world. Because you can't inside the war will stalemate. But outside in the world will defeat a moon phase 22, because conquest of the world is no longer his job. Service to the world is now his job, and he must realize that. So let's look at moon phase. Let's look at our moon phase 22, Rupert Murdock. The world must defeat Rupert Murdock, and you can see how terrified he is of it. But look at this: Jupiter, Pluto, Mars, opposition to his first house, Saturn in Capricorn. This is a very competent Saturn. This is a very competent man. But you can see the terrible fear he has of loss, a loss of power, loss of position, loss of money. He's got the Venus, a fairly unaspected Venus. She's got some wide inconjuncts and wide sextiles, but they're wide. And so virtually that Venus is turned loose. In Aquarius, Venus in Aquarius is not a particularly loving Venus. And Venus is the planet of love. You look to Venus for your loving nature. And this guy doesn't have much of a loving nature. The Venus is in Aquarius, which means that it's removed virtually from human emotional interactions. He is a Pisces, and it looks to me like he didn't have a happy childhood. His emotional needs were not felt, were not met, and and so he wasn't taught to love. He wasn't taught how to love. The Neptune up here is in a trine to the ascendant, but has no other Ptolemaic aspects, and so it too is unaspected. And that means that Neptune and that Venus are free to invent their own. Well, he's a communicator, and up here in the 9th house, and is what he communicates, his own dystopian vision of the world. The Neptune is not happy in Virgo. It rules Pisces. Now we do have a mutual reception here between the Neptune and the Mercury. The Mercury is in Pisces and the Neptune is in Virgo. And what that does is help him to distort or throw out an image. Neptune is an image that is propaganda and not truth, objective truth. Aquarius is the planet of objective truth, or the sign of objective truth. But his own Uranus is down here, and it's got the North Node conjuncted, and it says, work on that objective truth thing. It could be a real benefit to the world. But he has his own reasons. He is a conservative, that Saturn in the first house, opposite the Pluto and Mars, throws enough fear into him to make him a good conservative. And that's what even though he's more than a conservative, he's not even a good conservative. He's a negative influence in the world, I would call him, instead of being positive influence on the world, like you saw in Carl Jung. It wasn't easy for Carl Jung. If you ever saw the before and after pictures of Carl Jung, the pictures of when he was a young man were kind of frightening. Such an uptight, rigid young man. And the picture of him as an old man, benevolent grandfather, who you knew loved you. So that's the kind of change that we're asking here of Rupert Murdock, but he's 90. I mean, seriously. His children have asked him to lighten up, actually do something good for the world. But the Neptune up there doesn't have a very good positive view of the world at all. It's a scary place for him. Scary place for him. And we've got here an interesting aspect between the moon and Jupiter. It's 165 degrees. And it's a aspect of a tremendous tenacity. And so we've got this insecure moon, and it's insecure because it's at war with the sun. Insecure moon ruling this Jupiter. And notice that they're in mutual reception. I just noticed that. This insecure moon ruling these planets over here, when it gets a hold of something, it will not let go. So making him change his mind and his attitude and making him feel secure is not going to be an easy proposition. And probably not when he can do this lifetime. And next lifetime he will come back as a 22. That's my prediction. What do I know? The thing about a 22 is they get so alienated from the world, up there in the mind virtually. I mean, and the world, the common world of you and I, and people that do the work to make the world run, is just, he has no clue. He has no clue. And that's what a 22 needs to do, is to get off their high horse, come down into the world, and see what's really going on down here, because they have the power to do something about it. What the 22 has to do virtually is surrender to love. An objective love. It's in the second house, so it's Venus is quite capable of learning to love. But first she has to deal with this terrible fear of loss, fear of failure that this man virtually runs on. Has to make a conscious sacrifice. And he's 90. I don't know. Maybe he'll live another 10 years and actually become a great a benefactor to the world. But I doubt it. He's the contrary. He won't be bossed around. Notice the aspect between Uranus and the Jupiter there is a square. And he goes his own way. He goes his own way. Trusts no one. Trusts no one. Venus is square to the sun. I mean, the moon is square to the sun. And so that's Rupert Murdock, a moon phase 22. It's not all a bed of roses for these people. They have to have an inner change of heart. They have to have a revelation, virtually, that tells them what's important and gives them information on what they can do for the world. Rupert Murdock's got a lot of money and a lot of influence and can do some real good work for those suffering. You notice that moon phase 23 is obliged to go down to the down into the depths. I mean, they go off the hill and they don't stop in the suburbs. They go down into the heart of whatever issue is their issue. Like Mother Teresa, the people dying on the streets. Now, that's about as far into Pluto as you can go. So, anyway, that's a moon phase 22. And it's a difficult phase. A phase of war. And I hope that you are doing well. We're starting to look hopeful. Let's hope that the people who are optimistically throwing open the doors are not endangering the rest of us. Let's be careful out there. Yeah, be careful out there. And tell the people you love that you love them. Bye-bye.